Back again. It's been about a week. I have a lot of personal stuff to deal with, so wanted to do these every day, but sometimes you gotta take care of other things. Anyway, today I just wanted to continue on with where we left off, adding more slices and getting into some of the automation stuff. So we're gonna continue on with the features. Maybe have some coding and tech review if you like. Join us on Twitch, Discord, um, all of those channels, LinkedIn, Twitter. And yeah, if you have any questions about event modeling and event sourcing, let me know. So here's where we got to in the code. Last time we merged this request unique ID slice. Now we're going to continue on with the fetch. So, sorry, the confirmation for having fetched the proper ID. Let's just go back to our event model and see where we're at. So I added some work here just on the other computer. So I put it into a temp branch here. So I believe if I can just view the difference, open changes. So yeah, just create confirmation ID, and then we have a simple placeholder page here. So not much, and of course we have an issue with not having the same style, etc. So I was looking at another AI tool over the last couple of weeks, because Cursor AI is still not really that great at doing cross file refactorings. So basically moving functions around to a different file and making sure that the maybe I'm wrong, maybe they did add it, but last time I checked they didn't. So there was this this other tool that I forget the name of, but it basically sits on in your terminal, and you can prompt it to do those types of changes there. It integrates more tightly with Git in terms of seeing the context that you want. It looks at your previous commits and the files that you're tracking, rather than looking at the file, your current working folder, as Cursor AI does. So anyway, I'm gonna try and see over the next week if we can do that. The reason I'm bringing this up is because, as you can see here, this failed to generate the handlebars file the same way that the others look. So if we look at create conf ID here, notice that it's got the style sheet link, etc. So maybe maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this will be handled correctly. So let's see. Maybe, and again, I'm working with some work trees here, so I'm not going to touch those for now. I'm going to basically call the I'm going to call the sub branch what it needs to be after. It's just temp right now, and we can take a look at which one that is, and it's basically the confirmation part. So if we look at our graph here of our commits, we notice that we have this one already in the request unique ID, and so that should be finished, right? Mark slice is done. So that should be a finished request. If I look at, where is it here? That's our app. Right, so if we go and look at not the views, here we should be able to see that this was done. Yeah, create conference ID. So this was done. It's yeah. So I'm not sure if we actually. I think I might have conflated these two. because I think it's just the same thing. So I'll have to correct that because this is really either or will do. So I think I'll just stick with this latest screen and move this over. So in progress, I want this to be done because that's what we did. Save that, and I'll have to do that on the main branch. So I'm just gonna cherry pick that change later. So git add -a status correct the actually I don't want to commit yet. I actually want to get rid of this extra guy here because I think this continue button actually goes to here and we actually don't have that. I think we just refactored all that, so we don't need this either thing here. So this is really the proper flow of events. I was trying to change something and I just ended up making an extra screen. But what we wanted to do and what's missing is the confirmation screen. So we have that as the next. It's kind of far away, but anyway, I wanted to have more real estate to move stuff around. And so now we want to continue on with this one. So I think now I'm happy with the way things look. It's mostly flowing correctly in terms of what's happening here. So we're setting up a sign up URL, and then oh yeah, we did some other things here, such as changing the open registration, close registration, so that when the registration is open, you still have to explicitly open the registration so that people can use this. And then you can close the registration so that no more participants can register themselves for the open spaces. And this is the flow here on the lower swim lane for the participants. The organizers are controlling this up here. Probably want to move that up a bit. So participant registration portal management. So I guess that should actually be further back. And I can move this up a bit so it's kind of in line with the second one. Kind of have these ones for the individual functionality and the epics kind of at the top. So we have, you know, this whole open spaces setup, and I think the setup is kind of done after that. I think participant registration is where this really ends. That's kind of the start of the conference. So the setup's kind of finished when we do that. It's okay. I'm just going to call this cleanup. And I'll cherry pick that one to the other branch. Anyway, it's probably not worthwhile because these end up with crazy. Actually, they're not that bad. Draw.io conflict resolutions aren't that bad. It's quite good at keeping referential integrity as to what the arrows are pointing to, and adding new items seems to be okay as well. So I have to double check that I don't have any screw ups in terms of. Sometimes I put things on the wrong layer, so I like to make sure to check that because I've screwed that up before. Communications just for bugs, there isn't any right now, or questions about features. So that layer is used for that. So I'll just close that. Everything looks okay. Schedule creations over there. So anyway, if you have anything you want to ask, let me know. I know it's summertime, so probably not going to get a lot of participants. It's beautiful weather here today, but I'm trying to make sure that we have more progress on this even during the summer. So yeah, there will be an event modeling small unconference in Vancouver in September. So I'm just gonna start to work on announcing that in the next couple of days, and so hopefully you can join that and work on this kind of stuff together. We'll probably make some hackathons. I think it'll be better when there's more hands-on things like this at these unconferences. There will be regular talks and a workshop to learn all this as well beforehand, but I want to make sure that we also have enough hands-on stuff for people to do. So I want to make sure we have also a lot more code to work with for those exercises, so we're not spending a lot of time setting things up, and we can get going on a lot of these things. All right, so next slice here will be this one here. Trying to kind of keep things in my mind here as to what I changed. And I do need my layers back. Oops. Give me my layers because I need to make sure I'm on the progress part. And oh, I remember you can control drag, I think, to do that. Yeah, control drag does that. And this I want, of course, to be in progress. The nice thing about event modeling is that you really clearly see where you are in your implementation. And I'm not sure if I actually did it right here because I just wanted to have a confirmation page, which I don't think I actually want. So I'm going to change some of this implementation here. This says that I need a processor that looks at this view, state view, which is the conference IDs to be that haven't been generated, and it'll provide the ID and then store it. So that's kind of what we're doing here. Processors are always split up into two slices. And I've also been revising some of the ideas around estimates. And one of the criteria I think that's going to change in the next little bit is that estimates for slices are only going to slices are actually going to be free if they do not have this acceptance criteria. So in other words, if you are just fetching blindly, let's say the interest rate for a part of a process, so there's something that is importing the latest interest rate for a step in a workflow from an external service. I'm considering that because there's very little logic around that this actually will be something that's included with a large enough project, meaning you have, 25 or more slices that have some meat to them in your project, then you should probably have slices that don't really have a lot of given when thens or given thens. Literally, they're just infrastructure that's kind of plumbing code that's grabbing something from a provider, like a interest rate provider, or maybe even payment processors if you don't have a lot of logic. Now, that doesn't include further slices, obviously, where there may be a lot more logic. What you do with that information later on is not free, but the actual step in these little gears, in a lot of places, they may actually become free. So I think I'm going to be looking at that for an improvement to our fixed cost. Again, an improvement that's much better for our clients because they're going to get more slices for free, which is good. So yeah, I think that's something that I'm going to consider. Again, this I need to mark as in progress, and I have about an hour here, so we're not going to get through a lot, but I want to get through to some of the functionality. I'm going to ignore the other stuff that I did. I'm going to keep it in the branch and then clean things up a bit. But for now, I think I just want to continue on with this processor, because a lot of people had questions about that. So let's now make sure that we have this as yellow, because in progress stuff is yellow. Do we have a yellow one? No, we didn't. Okay, so problems with Draw.io is that it doesn't seem to recall these yellow things. I should really finish these. Okay, but I wanted to get to I really wanted to get to the processor, so maybe we'll clean these up later, or maybe I will finish them offline, or yeah, when I'm doing my own stuff later on in the evening. I just go to those. And of course, maybe I should just change these to white. I hate changing these colors all the time. Let's see, that's in progress. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that as a separate commit. And I will have, oops, of course, add, and then this commit. Okay, so we have that added, and I want to change all of these. This does have some nice XML, and I'm not sure if you can put custom things in here. I think there is custom properties. I think you can add. I'm not sure if you can actually. I'm not sure if you can add a brand new property. Editable, edit dialog. Ooh, interesting. I got to play around with some of this stuff, because this may be quite an interesting format for event models if we can do a lot more automations. Edit data, edit style, edit geometry. Oh, I guess you can add a property. I can call it height, em type, and here I can put in let's just say it's progress indicator. Okay, apply. So do we now have that in here? Progress indicator, property, em type. Is em type down here now? Okay, so I don't really know how that works. Edit data, edit length, connection points, edit style. Okay, so that's that. Sorry, just going down a bit of a rabbit hole, but some of these things I want to make sure we could parse a lot more easily. So if I look in the, if I look for em type, would it find it? It doesn't seem to find it. Okay. Okay, if I cat that, and then look for type. Oh, it's got too many. Is it em type? How did it not save? Oh, it's not saved. Forgot I don't have auto save on. And that closed it. Thanks. Still not finding it. So I don't understand where this attribute got saved. Oh, EM type. Oh, it's an underscore progress indicator. Interesting. So if I float over it, it gives me that. Interesting. Okay. So this might be a good way to add some metadata to event models, which would make it more easily manipulated here. If we go with Draw.io as kind of a tool that we want to use for other things. But then again, there's the fact that a lot of people use Miro, and there's the fact that we also want plain HTML and JavaScript because that's more universal if we're going to make tools. So lots of things to consider. So if we do this, let's see what the line's like. Okay, so label, object label Adam Dunn. Weird. Progress indicator ID 100. So my object, is there an object wrapper? Let's look, let's add some lines after or before and after. So let's add 3 lines of context around this just to see. Oops. With a space. So oops. We could kind of see how it differs from others. So there's another progress one. And this one, object label, Adam Dunn. And it has that. And then in here it has the cell, the white space. It's got the color that I can see is the green. And the rest of the stuff. So this cell is kind of like the geometry. Here, this one is interesting. I don't know why this one, what this one is, but that's kind of funny how it just dumps them in here. So if I make all of them EM types of progress, then I could probably very quickly change all of those to be to have the text as white instead of changing the color here. So if I edit the data, yeah, property name. So I have to do that. I could probably just paste them in wherever I have this done or in progress. I could add an EM type of progress indicator. Okay, so let's just try and see if we can do that here. Control K. Parse event. Draw.io XML file looking for progress. For object label. Interesting. Why is that progress in here? Okay. Looking for Adam Dunn in label. Add the attribute EM type and progress indicator. Okay, overwrite the file. Result. Or overwrite the file with these changes. Did it do it? Oh boy. It just nuked it. That's not good. It's modified, it's not nuked. Oh, that's nasty. What the hell happened there? Okay, so I don't think it did it. Let's see what we're at. I think I just undid all the stuff that I'm still here. I didn't do that. Yeah, bit of a rabbit hole. Let's save that for another day. I really want to improve the workflow here, but not today. Just have this one here and have this atom in progress, and maybe move some of these to give ourselves some space. Reattach this. Over here. That over. Actually, I don't want that to be all of that, so let's move these over. Somewhere here. Move this here. Move this here. Yeah. Okay. Good. So that's that. That's in progress. Now we should at least have this yellow here. The text should be yellow as well. Okay, so we're doing that. And so let's start implementing this. Actually, the whole thing. Processor is kind of done as one. So I think we'll do an inline processor for this, meaning the minute that this green box is updated, we immediately kick off whatever the processor would do. The other way to do it is to have a cron job looking at this, and then you have some eventual consistency stuff to deal with. But for now, we'll just inline it because that's the simplest thing that, part of the same web request and everything should be doable. So, yeah, conference IDs, and this is a to-do. So we should probably have this named as a to-do. And of course, to do conference IDs, we should have that named. I should start naming these as they're named in the code. So here we always have a state view as an SV, and things like this should have ID as a command, which is we do CD, I believe. We have CD at the end of all these. Maybe with underscores, I don't know. That's debatable. Some languages, if you're implementing this, they don't like underscores. Maybe. I'm reluctant to do those, so. Right. So unique ID requested. Then here, I don't know if we want an ID. Let's just add that later. We'll see. As long as this is the only thing that's running, whenever we have this pop up, we will have, oh, that's not provided. This is unique ID provided. Yeah, so I have quite a few changes here that we're going to need to pick out of this, because there's some errors in the general model here, but that's okay. That looks ugly. Okay. I really don't like the way this is going. All right. Oh, there. I think it's fixed. Nope. Come on, attach to this guy. There we go. That looks better. All right. So we have that. No, I don't have my autosave on. In progress. In progress. Probably combine those two commits, but whatever. All right. So what do we do? At the end of this, we move over to updating this. So let's go to our app code here. Scroll down to where we are actually doing this. Create a conference ID. We don't want to redirect this yet. Actually, we do. But since this event is written, interesting. So we do, because of the redirects, we don't actually take care of all of this in one thing. So, all right, here's an interesting idea. We usually have to-do list as a persisted view, which means some sort of a table or whatever. But since here we are just looking at all the events all the time, we're going to have to take a little bit of a different approach. So there's this idea that we have a processor that gets kicked off whenever its to-do list gets updated. Because we don't have this as a cron job, we're going to have to rely on this getting kicked off whenever we try to go to this page and we're actually part of this. So it's actually going to have to happen here. So because this is an event that will update to-do list for a processor, we need to continue the logic here from here. And okay, we will do the create confirmation here, but we will basically say update. I have to refactor this. So update to-do list. We kind of assume that that's done somewhere else. So I have to kick off the processor. So process new conf IDs. Or what did I say? Yeah, process conf ID generation. Okay. I think that's all we need because oops. This logic. Okay, it doesn't know how to make processors yet or how we're doing that, so it will just give me, it doesn't even know what I want to do, which is good. I don't want it to assume that. And I will get rid of that comment. That was more of an instruction for all of us to kind of understand what my thinking is. But here we will look at generating an ID for each. So for, let's see, what's another good, okay, time slot SVs. So we have conf to do conf ID to generate and that's the state view. And we do for each. Yeah, so it's got the good idea because we already did this for each type of stuff. And it's not a conf ID. We have a task. So this is a to-do list. So each thing is a task. And the task will have an ID, and if it's nothing, it means it hasn't been generated yet, so it has to create an event for that one. It's good. It's making, okay, so it does create that, but that's only if task dot, it's not task, it's ID generation task Oh, what do I want to name it? I guess it's a conf ID. And if conf ID that value is equal to nothing, is not equal to nothing. Is that what it is? I don't know if that's proper JavaScript. Then continue. Is it continue for each or return? I think it's return because we're in the function, right? There we go. That's what we do. So that means these are already been generated. And I guess our flow here is that we're just using the last ID that's ever been generated to start this off. Again, if once we make this the multi-tenant application, we're going to have some more IDs in these things to segregate out who's doing what. But for now, we know that the last event kind of marks where we are in the flow. So this is a fairly simple process. So how much time we got? Okay, we got about 25 minutes. Let's see how far we get with this. So conf ID generate new. If it doesn't equal nothing, then we want a new UUID. How do we do that? UUID v4 dot. Is that right? And we don't want the date. Oh, yeah, we kind of do. Generated event, conf ID, generated event. So yeah, so this is kind of what annoys me, is that we don't have a way to move things. I don't think this does it yet. Let's try and make class no, we want class conf ID generated event and tab complete that. So the constructor is kind of crap because we also want the UUID in there for the ID. And here we want another UUID. But this is also a new UUID. So it's interesting. We have a separate UUID for the ID of the event because we have a separate ID for every event. But here we also have the ID for the conference, and that's going to be, I guess, used later for other things. So we have that. We have that. Okay. Oh, it wanted to do something. Oh, yeah. Okay, so it knows that it needs to have the type because we do have types. If I open up this guy, we do have this. We have ID and we have timestamp, right? So I wonder if it knew about the timestamp. Yes, it did, but it made an. See, I have them timestamp as a single word all the time, and it really wants me to use camel case for timestamp. So I don't know what to do. I kind of don't want it. I don't want to play into its thing. I always have time stamp like that. So okay, that corrected it. Now I'm wondering if there's this other tool that does the refactoring to move things into their own files. Let's just see if this chat thing does it. Why am I'm really pissed off about the autosave not doing its thing. I'm always paranoid. Edit file preferences, VS Code settings, auto save, on focus change. I think after on focus change should be good. We could do after a delay. I don't know if that's, I don't know what the delay is. Yeah, focus change is probably easy. All right, let's try that. So if I'm down here or I go to something else, I should save that. So if I, even if I go to a new chat, where's my new chat? File annotations. Oop, what am I doing here? What is that triple dot? That's you. Okay, so that's thanks. Let's go to chat. Please move this to its own file with the other events. Would it be able to do this? Okay, so it's not doing this for me. This is pain in the butt. Yeah. Okay, so it still hasn't done that. The other tool is good for doing these types of refactorings. I'll install it for next time, but the one thing that it does kind of lean on too much is that it wants you to have the files you're manipulating to be already added in Git and maybe committed. So there's a lot of room for improvement with the current tooling and AI, that's for sure. So why can't it do this for me? See, if I do this here, what will it do? Apply to current file. I kind of don't want to. Cancel that. Can I do this? Create a new file named this in events. Can I do that? Apply to what? What is this AI chat? Yeah, there's no way to apply it to the solution. To put it into events. I click that. App.js. I don't know what it's doing. Too weird. Yeah, so I'm gonna do this manually, of course. New file, conf id generated event.js, and where am I? Yeah. Okay, so okay, I want this to be a separate window so we don't get those weird things happening. And of course, this is already screwed up. Okay, that's fixed. So we have that added. We have the app.js modified. Copy that, move that here. And then of course we can then save this. We're here and we should be able to apply this to the file. And remove the original class. Okay, well, let's see. Apply. Okay, good. So I got rid of that. What is this? Process, that's ours. And okay, and it did get this require. Okay, good. So it's doing undefined except. Why does it have Cursor AI? Is kind of weird how it installs. It's on the other computer it installed better for some reason. I don't know why it installed better. For some reason these icons don't pop up on this one. On the other one they do. That's something I'm going to figure out another time. Okay, so here we have our new lines to do this. So we have conf ID generated. That'll store. It'll write it. Perfect. Yeah. So it'll do it for each one of those. And it should just have one because we do this just once. So you can see that it writes this event to request that. That's requested. This to do IDs SV has to be a thing that gets updated by those request conf ID events. So to do conf ID generate blah blah blah, and that's going to be our function. And it's going to do that. And it's going to do that as an event ID, conf ID, event conf ID. Good. So it's requesting. I don't think this is correct. Request conf ID, requested conf ID actually needs to have its own ID, a timestamp, and that's it. So it doesn't actually have a conf ID. So this is not a conf ID. This is just an ID. Yeah, I think I left this in the middle of editing. I didn't actually finish that. I thought I did, but I don't think I did. So this is just an ID because that just creates that. This command would only be allowed. So I guess our given when then is if you already requested an ID, this shouldn't allow you to do another one. So this command should fail if it's already got one done, but I think that's good enough. So let's continue with this and add. Yeah, we're basically ignoring this. We don't have any validation in here. Actually, let's add a validation. So we have that, and we will only do this if if we don't have others. So we need to have if to do conf doesn't equal, that's if it's, okay, so that's good. Yeah, if we already requested this one, but honestly, it shouldn't. It actually shouldn't do that if there's any that are outstanding with this. So it should just ignore it. So this is an interesting one. It shouldn't throw anything, but it should just continue on with the process, because there is a chance that you can fail somewhere along here, or the power goes out or whatever, or the process gets killed, and you should be able to recover gracefully. So if it has the value, do we do this? I don't know. So if it has that with nothing, then it should not do that. So it's the opposite of that. So if it doesn't have that, it will write this event to request. But if there already exists something with nothing, it'll get picked up in here. And that's when it'll generate the ID. So that's assuming this failed somewhere in the middle. So I think we're good in terms of the logic flow. Okay, so we do that on the requested conf events, and it maps to that. And I got another 5 minutes to finish this. So we'll see where we get to. More tomorrow. But we have so we have this idea that if we have a generated ID for the conference, then this is empty. It should return empty. So it gets all the events, and it should get the last one if the event type is requested, or event type, guess the right word, yeah, generated. Right, so it's looking for all the things, the two types of events that this to-do list is looking for, which is the request things and the provision of those IDs. So requested conf ID event and conf ID generated event. It should just look at those, and then it should look at the last one. So it should order by sort. Okay, good. It knows what I'm doing, sort of. It sorts them, and then it should take the last one. It is reverse, yeah. And then it should take the last one, yeah. And if the type so it's getting a little bit, okay, get all events, then filter for these types. then sort them so we find the last one. And we're returning if it equals requested conf ID. Let's just do the other one. If it equals the conf ID generated, then there's nothing to do. If it's conf ID generated, then it returns that. Otherwise, and we should grab this and call it last event. Oops. Control X and const last event, and then do that. And then if last event actually we should check if this is check if no events. Empty array. Okay. I think that's right. Otherwise, that last event, and then if last event is 0, triple equals, and return that. Yeah, okay, good. And here we hold last event, we want to be mapped to, I think we just return the last event. Because that'll be the request event. I don't want to map it to some other custom object. So I think that'll work. If it equals generated, then it gives, there's nothing to do, so the processor won't do it. So it'll just go through, right? And then it'll redirect to that. And the confirmation will just show the ID of the last one. So we have another one here for this confirmation. Which should have so it's doing a render of that, but it should Yeah. All right. I think we have to call it quits, but I will push this up as a temporary work. So the temp branch right now. In process in process of making first processor. All right, so if you want to look at what I did, it's up there, and we'll continue tomorrow. So we'll have this little piece finished. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully, I will be, maybe tomorrow's optimistic, but I'll try. I think I have some appointments again. It's been a horribly busy last week. So I hope that I'll get more time to do this, and perhaps on the weekend I'll do more than I was able to do during the week. So again, thanks for joining. We'll see you soon. We'll continue to make this run, and hopefully you'll understand how to-do lists work in event modeling and how important they are. So until then.